my report. It's quite short, but it starts really with, first of all, Roger deciding to retire, which was very kind of him. And as we all know, he spent 30 years on the parish council, either as chairman or as vice chairman or something else. So for a long, long time, he was the guy go-to in Beyton if we had some issues. So he spent a lot of time, a lot of efforts, and now he's retired. So we wish him and you as well, Mary, a very happy and long retirement.
Thank you very much.
So we have a new council now, and the first thing we can say is all of us here, apart from Pat, have been less than 6 months. So we are really fledglings. So we have Ellen, who can't attend too often, or she has some other time constraints. She's been around for some period of time, as has Peggy, but Peggy also has some other things, especially tonight. So really we are very, very new, and we're very conscious of this. So what we've done is we've gone back to previous council chairmen, and we've asked them if they can be advisors to us, to help us. Because clearly we don't know A, the ropes. Only Adele has had a day's training or something like this.
2 days.
2 days, well, she's better than the rest of us put together.
All very.
And, you know, when you start looking back through what has happened though in the council, the minutes, etc., you see kind of repetition. And it would be very useful for us not to do exactly the same necessarily as has been done in the past, but understand what was done in the past and have some history. So we contacted, first of all, Pat Hayes, then we contacted Kathy Cass, then we contacted John Rapley, then we contacted Ian Shipley, and of course Roger. Every one of them has agreed to help us. So I'm really happy with that, and I think we need to have some level of, let's say, background. And I'm very happy that they've all agreed to give us that help. So, also, you will see in the magazine, please come to our meetings. They are not the most exciting couple of hours you're going to spend. On the other hand, what we discuss are things that most likely are on your agendas too. So we would like to share and have, let's say, as many people understanding what we're trying to do and advising us also, and giving us hints and advice so that we can do what the people of Beyton want us to do. We've also fixed the meetings. The good news is we fixed them for the next 6 months. The bad news is it's in this room. So that's done until the end of the year, and you will see all of these. And our intention is to do whatever we can not to change them. So I would like to introduce Adele, Sue, of course you know Pat, Mark, and you'll meet up with Ellen a bit later, and Peggy next time. So the only thing that is not in that parish magazine is the fact that we are one person short. So actually we are looking for another person to join us on the council, and there is a open space. So we look for a volunteer, please. That's the first part of my report. Second part, one parishioner sent a note in through the Goose Outlook and made some suggestions, and I responded back saying that I would like to learn about the geese. And I would like to pick up from people who have a good knowledge. So the first thing I did is went over to see Nick Willis at Anglia Wildfowl. And one of the things that came up was watering, or water for the geese in the summer months, and maybe even in the winter if we get frozen ponds, etc. So I asked him the first question: do the geese need flowing water in the stream? And he answered no. They do need water, but it doesn't have to be flowing, and it doesn't have to be deep. Next question: based on the fact that you've been here to Beyton and seen our pond, is the water acceptable for the geese? And he said yes. Even if algae forms due to excessive sunlight, this will have no ill effect on the geese. And he cited the fact that mallard ducks have bred on the pond, who have the freedom to go wherever they like. They chose to go there. So I asked him about supplementary water. So I said, do they need supplementary water in the hot months? And he said, of course they need water, but if the first 2 points, there's water in the stream and the pond, then actually they don't need any more. They said, okay, some input from a parishioner maybe makes us think a little bit differently. So if we were to supply water, fresh water to them, how could we do this? So he actually showed me something he called an IBC tank. It's about a half cubic meter tank, water tank, where we could draw fresh water and have like a splashing bath for them so that they could drink from this and splash it out as they perhaps like to do. So he said you can buy these pretty easily from the internet, but he showed me a couple there, and it would cost us, if we were to go in this route, £50 to buy both bits of kit. Now, the tank itself is a bit ugly, I have to say. It's plastic with some metal around it, and the bath on the other hand is okay. So if we were to go ahead, we certainly just couldn't dump it on the green because it doesn't look nice. So we would need to house it in some way. So I've spoken to one of the village guys here, and he would be willing to fund this tank and ancillary bits. So the next question, of course, is how do you water it? How do you load the water into it? So I contacted another friendly household at the green, and they have agreed to supply the water. So we can feed in water, fresh water, to it. My recommendation is that we need a plan B, we need a backup to where we are now, and that we should go ahead and buy this and install it. So I've sent this note round, and I'm quite happy that we put this note into the minutes. These are my minutes, or meeting notes from meeting with Nick. By the way, I also discussed with Mark Bryant, who's the PC responsible for wild animals or whatever in Suffolk, and his comment to me, I told him I had a meeting with Nick, and his comments was he's pretty clued up guy. So I feel quite confident and quite comfortable that we're doing the right thing, but I would like to propose that we spend, or not spend money because we've been offered the money, but that we go ahead and make provisions for clean, fresh water to be available when necessary to the geese on the grid.
We've spoken about this earlier. So my thoughts is that, I mean, it's great that we've taken advice, and the advice was that we didn't need anything else. So I think we've been told that we don't need anything else, and of course we want the geese to be fine in the summer months. But we also have to consider how large it is. You said it's going to have to be in some sort of casing, what that's going to look like, the impact that that's going to have on the green. So I personally am still not happy to agree to it until I know more about what the casing is going to look like, you know, and all of that, when we don't need to have it, because we've already been told by the experts that we don't need to have it. And it's very, very generous of that person to offer to donate that. And if we needed it, absolutely we should do it, absolutely. But it's quite clear that if we have a pond, and I know there's been a debate about fresh running water, but we've got the pond, and that gentleman said that that's okay. For me, that's okay. My opinion.
Okay. Well, it's a half a cubic metre, so that's like that.
Did John Ruffles ever supply water for the geese? Roger probably know. Did John Ruffles ever supply water for the geese?
Well,
Yes.
the pond dried up in 1984.
Yeah. So, but did John?
I don't know what happened then.
Because obviously he
But
maintained the geese.
survived it.
Yeah, exactly. He maintained the geese most of the time, didn't he? And
Well,
his
released to start.
knowledge of the geese was second to none. So,
I mean, if we need it, absolutely. You know, we have to, it's our duty to look after the geese.
no, well, my point is that if they survived under John Ruffles' care about water being supplied to them, then we're doing it to supply water.
I would rather have a plan B, a backup. I think not to have a backup.
But he's told us we don't need a backup.
Well, we might need a backup, for example, if the pond froze in the winter time. So I think we do need to have
Yes,
some.
the tank water would freeze it.
No, not if you put styrofoam around it.
It's getting prettier all the time.
You won't see the styrofoam.
Yeah, but what about the hose supplying the water to the tank? That for us.
Not if it's got no water in it, right? Autumn time, because this is the best for flying. So,
But that's never going to happen.
No.
I think we have to clarify that.
Yes.
well, it might. Who knows? These things are dynamic.
Did you read Ellen's email?
Yes, I don't care
Okay.
too much about the fact that, you know, we have to look dynamically.
Even
Things
though
change.
when the...
Sorry, I didn't mean to say I don't
Well,
care, because I do care.
Because
Yeah.
from what I read, and I can't remember at the time, but from what I read, when the survey went out to everybody, it was stated quite clearly then that it would be a one-off occurrence and that it would not happen again.
In the survey.
And so that's what people voted for. I think that's really important, that we have to take that into consideration.
Okay, well, if it was done that way, then...
I think that's how I read it.
Okay, right. Anyway, if you can put those into the minutes. So, now, Annalie, I think we need your...
Stand up. Thank you. It feels like an age since I've last been here, I have to say. Since April, there has only been one crime in relation to chimney pot planters between the 21st and 24th of April. There's no suspects for that. And there's been 11 telephone calls in the time in relation to highway disruption, crime, malicious communications and concerns for welfare that sort of Beyton in general. Now I know I got an email from yourself sort of middle of last month in relation to fires on Footbridge.
Yes.
I haven't had a chance to look at that, I'll be honest, but I will be. We're discussing that